Welcome to our Devos this week where we are talking about the subject of contentment. And if you've missed any of them, you should go back and listen to them because contentment is something that we are encouraged to in the scriptures, that we are to be content with what God has given us, where God has placed us, and the blessings that God has given us in our lives. We struggle with discontentment, and it usually gets us in trouble. And today I'm going to give you one final piece of encouragement that I think is so vital when it comes to being content with our lives, and it's this. Keep your eyes on your own life. Do you remember in grade school or high school or college when people said, the teacher would say, you have to keep your eyes on your own work, right? Keep your eyes on your own paper. Now, we talked earlier this week about comparison. But what we didn't do is we didn't talk about how often, and this is very, very fitting, how often we think about our lives and all we do is say, well, I should be further along. Or, I should be a little bit better at this. Or, I really ought to be, better in my health, or better with my finances, or better in my marriage, or better with my, we have all the things that we should be, we could be, and what it does is that thinking causes you to imagine a life that's not your life. And it usually is a result of expectations unfair that we put on ourselves. And we look at ourselves and we kind of, in our mind's eye, think, okay, well, maybe God wanted me to be further along like this, or maybe God wanted me to be doing this, and we start to give ourselves a hard time, and we give ourselves absolutely no grace. This is a hard concept to grasp, but I promise you that it's having an impact on your ability to be content. You see, I'm all for searching for the next thing, reaching to where God wants us to go. I'm all for keeping our eyes on eternity, keeping our focus forward on what Jesus is doing in our lives. However, if we start to down ourselves and start to lust after a life, a version of our life that right now we're not at, it will cause us to miss this moment. Or if we say, well, I should have done this, I could have done that, it will cause us not to be excited about the work that God is doing in our lives. A little caveat embedded in 1 Corinthians says this, in chapter 7, verse 17. He says, let each person lead the life that the Lord has assigned to him, and to which God has called him. What a powerful, powerful message. And I think that it's really relevant, the fact that God has called you where you are. You've made mistakes. You've sinned. You have had problems in your relationships. You are making things right now difficult in some areas. But the beauty of God's calling and his gifts is that they're irrevocable. And if you keep going to him, if you keep seeking him, if you keep focusing on what God is doing in your own life and focusing on what is happening right now, God will bless you and enable you to walk along the path that he has called you to. But you have to be willing to keep your eyes focused on your life, what's going on right now. Focus on what it is that he wants you to do to glorify him and live the life that he's called you to. If you focus on your life, what he wants you to do, your purpose, the passion that he's equipped you with, you're going to be content because you're going to be full in the idea of knowing that God has called you right now in this moment. This is the moment that he's called you to. This is the day that the Lord has made. So rejoice, be glad in it, and be content.